Welcome back to the Paranormal State, Washington, and UFO UAP. With Makāula Nakae, a lifelong experiencer and ET contactee since 1990. Today's episode, 1950 Project Bluebird. The Genesis of CIA Mind Control. Officially authorized on April 20th, 1950 by Director of Central Intelligence, Roscoe H. Hillenkoetter, Project Bluebird, later renamed Project Artichoke in 1951. And finally subsumed into MKUltra in 1953, represents the foundational bedrock of the CIA's Cold War quest for absolute behavioral modification and psychological control. The program earned its cryptonym from a planning meeting remark that its ultimate goal was to find methods to make uncooperative prisoners sing like a bird. Driven by mounting paranoia over Soviet, Chinese, and North Korean brainwashing techniques, and the belief that psychological dominance would dictate the outcome of the Cold War, Bluebird shifted intelligence gathering from traditional interrogation into deep neurological engineering. Project Bluebird was not designed as a passive academic study or a theoretical psychological inquiry. It was an active, highly classified operational directive born out of total Cold War paranoia, aimed squarely at mastering human cognition. Authorized by Director of Central Intelligence, Roscoe H. Hillenkoetter, in April 1950, the program sought to seize absolute dominion over the human nervous system. Declassified documents reveal that the program's architects operated across four chilling operational pillars, each pushing the boundaries of ethics and human sovereignty. The CIA sought to bypass the traditional physical limitations of torture by engineering a scientifically foolproof interrogation matrix. Recognizing that human resistance could sometimes outlast physical pain, Bluebird operatives focused on weaponizing a triad of polygraphs, chemical agents, and advanced medical hypnosis. By systematically combining these tools, handlers aimed to chemically induce a state of complete suggestibility and compliance. The goal was to dismantle a subject's psychological defenses at the neurological level, converting uncooperative prisoners, double agents, or captured operatives into entirely transparent vessels, incapable of withholding information. A core operational necessity for deep cover intelligence work is plausible deniability, even to oneself. Bluebird researchers heavily invested in investigating methods to induce total retrograde or anterograde amnesia on demand. The objective was twofold. First, to ensure that captured American agents could be intentionally wiped of sensitive operational details, rendering them incapable of revealing state secrets under brutal enemy interrogation, and second, to erase the memories of unwitting domestic or foreign test subjects who had been exposed to classified black site operations, ensuring they took their experiences to the grave without conscious recollection. Pushing past simple hypnosis, Bluebird explored the frontier of psychological compartmentalization, asking whether a human mind could be partitioned like a hard drive. Researchers tested whether subjects could be hypnotically programmed to manifest alternate personalities, absorb complex false memories, or execute specific prearranged behaviors. These hidden behavioral states were designed to remain dormant until unlocked by specific external cues, such as a designated phrase, a visual trigger, or a phone call, after which the subject would switch into a programmed operational persona without their normal waking self ever realizing it. Perhaps the most chilling objective of the program was testing the ultimate violation of human free will, the Manchurian Candidate Protocol. Bluebird operatives sought to determine whether a normal, compliant individual could be brainwashed and hypnotically programmed, entirely against their foundational survival instincts, moral code, and personal volition, to carry out high-stakes espionage, sabotage, or high-profile political assassinations. Even more terrifying was the requirement that once the mission was successfully executed, the operative would experience absolute amnesia, retaining no conscious memory of the act, the handlers, or the programming, thereby providing the ultimate untraceable cutout for the intelligence agency. Led initially by Morse Allen, chief of the CIA's Security Division, Project Bluebird operated within an absolute vacuum of external oversight, shielded by the impenetrable cloak of national security and Cold War urgency. To execute its mandate, the program established a sprawling, clandestine network of domestic facilities and overseas black sites where the rule of law and medical ethics did not apply. The execution of Bluebird's relied heavily on two deeply compromised operational vectors. Because conventional ethical constraints and informed consent were entirely stripped away under national security directives, the earliest targets for Bluebird's human experimentation were exclusively marginalized, vulnerable, or captive populations who possessed zero legal recourse. Declassified intelligence files confirmed that the primary subject pool included North Korean prisoners of war, political refugees, Eastern Bloc defectors, suspected double agents, and foreign detainees held in secret. Off-the-books U.S. interrogation facilities strategically distributed across post-war Europe, such as occupied Germany, Japan, and Southeast Asia. These individuals were treated not as human beings with rights, but as disposable biological assets in a global intelligence war. Before synthetic LSD became widely available via Sandoz laboratories in Basel, Switzerland in the early 1950s, a compound that would later dominate the MKUltra era, Bluebird operatives had to build their chemical interrogation toolkit from existing unpredictable substances. Handlers experimented aggressively with scopolamine, the classic botanical truth serum derived from nightshade, massive, debilitating doses of barbiturates designed to induce twilight sleep and disinhibition, concentrated cannabis extracts, raw mescaline, and acute chemical depressants. Crucially, these pharmacological agents were rarely used in isolation. They were systematically combined with psychological torture techniques, including total sensory deprivation, prolonged solitary confinement, and intensive, coercive medical hypnosis designed to shatter the subject's baseline reality. Project Bluebird did not end, rather it metastasized. It laid the direct structural, bureaucratic, and ethical groundwork for the entire dark architecture of Cold War mind control that followed. As the geopolitical stakes of the Korean War intensified and the CIA's ambitions grew unchecked, the program underwent a rapid, calculated evolution. By August 20, 1951, under the direction of Deputy Director of Central Intelligence Alan Dulles, who viewed psychological warfare and behavioral modification as vital weapons for the future, Project Bluebird was officially expanded, renamed, and scaled up into Project Artichoke. While maintaining the core interrogation and memory wiping goals of its predecessor, Artichoke vastly accelerated the chemical testing pipeline. It was under Artichoke that the CIA initiated its earliest clandestine trials with lysergic acid, diethylamide LSD, secretly administering the powerful synthetic hallucinogen to unwitting foreign prisoners, suspected agents, and even select intelligence personnel to test its efficacy as a total psychological destabilizer. As the scope of clandestine chemical and biological research widened to include domestic universities, hospitals, and prisons, Project Artichoke was formally absorbed into the notorious Project MKUltra on April 13, 1953. Placed under the direct control of brilliant, ruthless CIA chemist Dr. Sidney Gottlieb, head of the Technical Services Staff, DSS, MKUltra, removed all remaining bureaucratic boundaries. Gottlieb expanded the program into a sprawling multi-institution web of sub-projects involving unsuspecting American civilians, academic researchers, and unwitting patients. Project Bluebird proved that the U.S. intelligence apparatus was willing to systematically dismantle the boundaries of human free will and international law. By establishing the early operational protocols for black site experimentation, chemical interrogation, and neurological tampering, Bluebird codified a terrifying new paradigm. A dark blueprint where the human mind was no longer viewed as a sacred sanctuary of consciousness, but merely as a disposable tactical instrument to be overridden, fragmented, and reprogrammed. To be continued. Watch and listen. Watch the cinematic video trailer. Listen to the full podcast now. Explore the archive Cosmic Awakening Volume 1, 1991, Peru, Journey into the Unknown. Sacred Valley of the Incas. Volume 2, Ascension 2012, The Golden Alchemy. Part 3, The First Contact and the Paranormal State. Join the journey. New episodes drop periodically. Each chapter delivers a tight, hyper-focused 10 to 30-minute exploration into the evolution of ufology, perfect for your daily plunge into decoding hidden messages from outer space, designed to raise awareness and foster human evolution. Subscribe to support your inner development. Thumbs up to help push our channel through the algorithm. Comment below. Share your thoughts on today's episode.